What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Thanks for stopping by. Today we have another video for Crystalborne Heroes of Fate, and we are going to be talking about maybe not the best unit in the game. I haven't had a chance to play with all of them, but definitely my favorite unit in this game, and that is my girl Sigrid right here in the front line. This little pink-haired elf chick. I love her. She's fantastic. She's rocking Gatling guns. I talked about her in my first impressions video, I believe. I talked about how I pulled her, and I really liked her. I believe I also talked about her in my summoning video when I said I wanted to pull her twin sister, Ingrid, which I still do want to do. But today, we are going to look at Sigrid and go over her abilities, her infusions, you know, what kind of gear you probably want to use on her, as well as show you a little bit of gameplay. So let's just get right into it. Let's go to my heroes here. You can see I have made some pretty good changes to my account. I did go ahead and spend $5 on that original 20,000 gems with all that cool stuff. You got some really good stuff, like you got these two legendary heroes here. But today we're talking all about Sigrid. You can see she is by far my strongest unit, sitting at about 18k power. She's level 31, infusion level 3, and let's just go over her. So as you can see, she is a legendary, which does make things a little more difficult because dupes for skill ups is a little harder to do, because you need to pull another dupe of her, and legendaries are obviously the hardest to pull in games like these. But you do get books, which is good. But I mean, look at her; she just looks so cool. She looks so cool. I mean, like what? Look at that! Oh god, I love her. Anyways, she is a marauder, weapons officer about Wolf's flagship, the Dire Alpha. Sigrid and her twin sister Ingrid are among Wolf's most loyal followers. In battle, she can attack all enemies with heavy artillery. So basically, she's a damage dealer. She's an AoE damage dealer. We're gonna look at all of her passives and her skills and see what they do. So we'll go ahead and we'll start over here with the passives. Level 2 Hot Lead, I have leveled it up a little bit. While buffed, Sigrid's attacks ignore 10% physical defense. So she just does damage, like ignoring physical defense, right? It's great. Anything that ignores defense is very powerful. In most games, I would assume, it's done pretty good for me so far in this game. But I would assume that it's going to be really, really good in this game as well. Whirl, level 2, Sigrid uses an ability. She has a 50% chance to gain physical attack up for 1 turn. Now this works pretty well for me because I'm personally using Mara. She's an epic unit that has a attack and speed buff that she can use on turn 1, and it leaves me with just enough mana to cast Sigrid's second ability, which allows me to have a chance to use an ability before we use her big AoE. And I believe, I have seen it, I think I've seen physical attack buffs stack. So not like adding a turn so it's 2 turns, but like having 2 physical attack buffs. I'm not 100% positive. Maybe we'll see when we go into this fight if that's a possibility. But even if you that attack buff runs off in the future before you get her fully skilled up, Mara that is, she will have a chance to give herself physical attack. Plus, this just makes her a really good self-sufficient unit because she can give herself physical attack buff. Then we have her lethal skill, which is attacker allies have 8% increased critical chance. All right. This is important because this unit is, I'm going to spoil it a little bit, she scales on crit rate. So this is definitely a good beginner leader skill for your Sigrid. So first skill, this is her basic. Shredding rounds, physical attack 1 enemy, so it hits a single target. 3 hits, 35% damage each, and each critical hits has a 20% chance to inflict bleed for 2 turns. Bleed's pretty good. Dots are relatively strong in most games. Most of the time, bleeds are based on attack power. I'm not positive how bleeds work in this game yet, but I would assume that that's probably how it works. Normally, you have like your poisons or your dots that do max health, and then you have your bleeds that do damage based on the attack power of the unit. So I would assume that that's the case here. But more testing will ensue whether that's true or not. Second skill, Aerial Assault. Physical attack all enemies. 1 hit 82% damage, and each critical hit has a 40% chance to dispel a random buff. This has actually proved quite strong for me in certain situations, PvP situations specifically, where I've gone up against very buff-heavy teams, and I was able to actually remove buffs with this skill. Got a couple defense buffs off and things like that, and it helps. It helps a lot. So it's not bad. It's also just an AoE, which is great because she's an AoE damage dealer, so you get a little bit of AoE damage right off the bat. Then we have her big boy skill called Level 1 Fire All Weapons. Physical attack all enemies, 3 hits, 48% damage each. Each remaining mana plus 5% damage. Each critical hit inflicts critical avoid down for 2 turns. So, here's the thing. You're looking at this and you're going, wait, this is 82% damage for 1 hit. This is 48% damage for 3 hits. So obviously this is going to deal more damage, but probably not as much as you were expecting. Like, oh, this is an ultimate skill. You know, it's only dealing about 130-ish% damage. This deals 82% damage. That's not that big of a difference. But when you add in that 5% extra damage for mana, and you'll see I have a lot of mana when I end up using this skill in my normal combo. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Plus, the other team member I'm using Zora, one of the base units you get, and the main reason I'm using her is just because of the event going on right now to skill up and gear up and all that stuff with Zora, but she's also a critical based unit, so it actually works out nice with the critical avoid down. But I do want to go over her skill ups, okay? So as you can see, these are all the skills. I have put a couple skill ups into some of her skills, but this one up here for her first skill up, it goes from 35% damage to 37% damage. Then it goes from 37 to 39 and a 40% chance to inflict bleed. And then it goes to from 39 to 42% damage, and then 42 to 46 and an 80% chance to inflict bleed instead of a 40. So definitely a good final iteration. I think you have a pretty good chance of landing this bleed. I would have liked to see 100%, but at the same time I can understand that could be really, really strong, especially depending on how bleeds work. If bleeds are percent health based, then you know, you can just basically do 3 hits here, get 3 crits, and get 3 2-turn bleeds. But definitely still I think is a good skill. I definitely think it's a good skill. If they last the first initial burst, you have an okay basic skill. Let's look at the aerial assault. So as you can see, you can't see the base level anymore because I've already leveled this up. But it goes from 82% and 40% to 86 and 60. Then it goes to 94 and 60. And then it goes to 102 and guaranteeing a dispel of a random buff on a critical. So I think anything that gives you a guarantee of something is always a good thing. But with how rare these books are, and with how much it costs, because like if you go in here, it's cost 2 books for the second upgrade to a skill and 1,000,000 silver. That's a lot of silver, and one of the big bottlenecks of this game is going to be silver, so I'm not sure if I'm going to level this up any further. I did this because it only cost me 1 book, and it gave me, I believe it gave me 20% additional chance and like 6% damage, so I felt like it was worth it, but I don't think if I'll go any higher. Third skill here, Fire All Weapons. So this is your 3 hits, 48% damage, 5% additional damage, 2 turns, etc. 3 turn cooldown, 12 mana. And the next level, it goes from 48% damage to 50% damage. Not a big upgrade. It's kind of one of the reasons why I haven't decided to invest in it. The third skill goes from 355 and 2 to 353. Again, not that big of a deal, but then it goes to 10% damage for each remaining mana. And when I do this, I normally do it when I have 25 mana, is normally what I end up having if I get lucky with my procs. So that's 13 additional mana. That's 130% damage. That is monumental for damage. So I definitely think that it's going to be worth to skill this up. Just I haven't had a chance to do it yet. So then we go from 353.10 to 358.10, so another 5% increase. And then this is the big one. You go from 358.10 to 362.20. So this is definitely worth investing into, but right now I don't even have nearly enough silver or books to get to it. So I'm not going to waste any because that first upgrade is just not good, in my opinion. So after fire all weapons, we have stay on target. This is her leader skill. It goes from 6 as starting, goes to 8, 11, 15, and 21. Like I said, I think this is really good early on because critical rate is something that you don't just have access to right away, but will definitely fall off later on when you just have crit on your gear. So I did upgrade it once because it was relatively cheap. I got 2 extra % crit chance. And since 2 of my units are both critical based, it seemed like it was worth it. Alright, her first passive Whirl, this started off as a 25% chance to gain 1 physical attack up, went to 50% with that first one. Then we go to 75%, and then we go to a guaranteed, and then we go to a guaranteed physical attack up and critical chance up. Now I think this is good, but I also think, kind of like what I said earlier about her leader skill, getting a critical buff is not really that big of a deal, except for the fact that it allows you to have less gear focused on crit rate and more gear focused on crit damage. And I think that this is where this is going to come in handy. I think right now it's not a very huge difference, simply because of the fact that you're already, if you're using it, which I would recommend you do, you're already going to have a physical attack buff. So we don't, like I said, I don't know if this stacks. I think it does, but I'm not positive. And so if it does stack, great, keep doing it, level it up. If it doesn't stack, well, then leave it alone. It's not worth the upgrades right now. But eventually it may be worth it, just because eventually we'll have the books and silver to do it, to get this critical chance up, which gives us, let me click it here, 20% crit chance. So instead of having to have 100% crit chance, you can have 80 and still guarantee yourself a crit on most units. Then we have her last passive, which is called Hot Lead, and it's level 2. It started off level 1, obviously, and it started off at 5%. Then it went up to 10, 15, 20, and 30. This, by far, definitely, I think, her best skill to invest in, simply because ignoring physical defense is huge. She's a physical attacker, so physical defense, this is just damage everywhere. And in my opinion, when you want to be optimal, you want to get the most bang for your buck. So this increases the damage of all 3 of her skills, right? Because she's just ignoring physical defense. All of her abilities are physical attacks, so therefore this is going to be your biggest bang for your buck. Definitely invest in this skill. So we'll go into the gear here. As you can see, I've got sort of a mixed match of gear. I'm using the Founder's Flame here mainly because it's just the highest attack weapon I have. Once I get some more weapon options, I think I'll swap off of this. But like, these other weapons are just 19 attack, right? This one's got 92 attack, which is a little bit better. This one's got 142, which actually I think is better than this. What am I doing? Ooh, we're swapping this out. I'm dumb, guys. You learn something every day. You know what? I'll upgrade it for you guys too. Never mind, that costs a shit ton of gold or silver. We're not going to upgrade it, but that's still an upgrade. It gives us a little bit more damage. Sweet. Anyways, but as you can see right here, we're using a critical chance set, and we do have 3 of 3. This gives us 15% crit chance. This is pretty much just because we wanted to get as much crit as we could. The reason I'm using this set right here is just because it's got a lot of stats on it. This has speed, which speed is great, and it's also part of the critical, oh, whoops, don't want to do that. It's also part of the critical damage set as well, which we are going to eventually want to get on our things. But my recommendation for gearing this lady right here, I think early game is going to be 3 criticals and 6 critical damage. I do think eventually you'll be able to swap out the 3 critical chances for something else, maybe for like some health to make her a little tankier, or something along those lines. I'm not sure what all of the sets are. I do know that speed is going to be really, really important for some games. but I do think that ultimately crit chance and crit damage is by far going to be the 6 set, just because she scales with crit chance, so that means crit damage is just that much better. But definitely think 3 crit chance, 6 crit damage as soon as you can. Like I said, she's in Fusion 3. She does get some more crit chance from here. But it is a very good game. So, sorry, very good character is what I meant to say. But I definitely really like her. I think she's great. And let's just show you guys some gameplay of her so you can kind of see how I use her in battle. So, we'll go into campaign here. Let's go. Sure, we'll go into hard mode. We'll see if we can clear this one. I haven't been able to clear this one with 3 yet. So this is the team I'm taking in. As you can see, I'm very underpowered, but I'm in a very strong guild. If you haven't watched my guild video, definitely go watch that. It'll explain a lot of things. But let's go ahead and hop into this. I'm going to get myself some water here. Make sure you stay hydrated, guys. So this character right here is one of my other favorite characters, Mara. And she's got this skill right here, Invigorating Flame, which I have leveled up to 3, as you can see. Buffs all allies with physical attack up and speed up. So we're going to go ahead and do this. And then we're going to go look at this buff we have. So speed up here. Oops. Speed up. Can it show me? Increase speed by 20%. Physical attack up. Increase physical attack by 20%. Okay? And we're going to use this second skill here, which is going to do some pretty big boy damage, okay? Then we're going to hit this guy because we want to leave up some dudes. Try and keep everyone alive here. Here, we'll taunt so that no one gets killed off. Alright, and then we are going to turn it down to 1x speed because we want to see the damage and the animation. Oh, we don't have enough mana. Ah, crap. This happens sometimes. Okay. Well, we're going to try to leave as many guys alive as we can. Here, we'll use this. Alright, here we go. So we're going to get 15 mana. Alright, we've got 21 mana. We're going to basic here. Alright, let's put this on ×1 speed. So here we go. So we've got 21 mana. We're using 12, which means we've got 9 additional mana to cast with this spell. So that means that we are going to be getting a lot of extra damage. It's 5% damage per mana. So that's 45%, I think, if I did my math right. No, 54. I don't know. I'm bad at math. It's okay, though. So we're going to use this ability, and we're going to see how much damage it does. Here we go. Boom. So I saw 18k, I saw a 28k. I saw some decent damage go off, and as you can see, 213k damage that she did over the entirety of that fight. Definitely a huge damage dealer. Like I said, I love her. She's probably the main reason why I'm still playing this game. She just looks so cool. And she does great damage, and she does wonderful things. Oh, anyways, this video has been going on forever. I was going to try to keep it under 15 minutes, but you know what? We're at 20 minutes, almost. Who cares? Anyways, guys, that is it for me. Say goodbye to my girl, Sigrid. Ugh, she's so good. If you guys like this video and you want to see more content about Crystalborne Heroes of Fate, go ahead and give this video a like. And if you want to see more content from just me in general, go ahead and give me a subscribe and make sure to hit that bell notification next to it so that you can see when my videos go live. I will be trying to post content daily, so make sure you check out the channel every day for a new video from your boy Panda. Like I said, that is it for me today. Thank you so much for hanging out, and I will see you in the next one.